Does that answer your question?
Well, don't feel bad. I'm sporting 2 knee braces myself
Oh,
for
terrible.
some reason. My knees are getting worse and worse.
I hope I'm on the good side of it now, Mayor, but we'll see.
That's good. I feel for you. I do feel for you.
I have nothing to blame but the Fauci ouchie.
Well, yeah.
Just my luck to get an adverse reaction, you know.
Yep. Well, it's been a long time since I had my shots, 6 months or so. Or 6 months or so, and I don't think that's what's wrong with my knees, but well, I know that's not that's what's wrong with my knees. Anywho,
Testing audio. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir. Got you, Matt.
Appreciate it.
mic check good. Well, we got about 4 minutes, and we'll get this thing rolling.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, Mark.
Cliff,
Yes.
I was digging today for the North Water Plant slideshow that we saw way back when. That listed the different phases and the projected project amount. You have any idea when that was? I was searching for that.
Sure, I got it, man. I can dig it up. You talking about the original cost opinions for the 4 contracts, the distribution connects, the well, the tank, the booster station. Is that what you're?
No, I think it was the one that listed the 5 and 10-year phases of what they projected we would need.
Oh, yeah. That's a Freeze and Nichols capital improvement project.
Is it that same SEAC?
I'm sorry?
Is it the same SEAC presentation? Because I found that one, but I thought there was a different one.
I think it's a different one.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk offline. I was searching for that one today and didn't find it. I thought it had been sent to us long ago.
Yeah, I'll include it in the weekly report.
I appreciate it.
You want both water and wastewater, or just water?
Both will be great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 p.m. by the clock on the wall. Thank everybody for coming. Calling the Board of Adjustments meeting to order for tonight's Richwood City Council meeting. Let the record show that all council members do appear to be with us tonight online. So item 3, do we have any public comments? Okay, second call for public comments. Last call for public comments. Okay, moving right along. Let's move to the item 4, consent agenda, approval of minutes for the meeting held June 14th, 2021. Any discussion, any questions, or anything needs to be changed? Okay, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
I make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Okay, let the record reflect that Councilmember Yarborough has made a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I believe Councilmember Johnson, I saw his light come up first, so we'll go ahead with him on the second. Councilmember Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Strand, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
And Councilmember Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that all the motion is approved unanimously. Okay, item 5, discussion and action items. Discuss and consider approving variance allowing a performance-based design alternative for the fiberglass building at the North Water Plant site without a fire suppression system to comply with Chapter 50, Sections 5001.3.3.1 through 5001.3.3.18 of the International Fire Code. Cliff?
Yeah, so council, Chapter 50 of the International Fire Code that pertains to the installation of fire suppression system within structures that house hazardous chemicals. These particular sections we're requesting variance to. The fire suppression system itself is existing for the purpose of preventing releases, hazardous chemical releases, this case being chlorine. But with the design of the North Water Plant, it's inclusive of a chlorine containment facility where containment and injection will take place, 6x6 fiberglass structure or chlorine room that will be equipped with all the implements for detecting and containing chlorine gas releases. I have included a document provided to me by Strand Associates in the packet that basically break down every section and either response to that section by Strand Associates and also implementation by the City of Richwood, additional standard operating procedures and things we'll need to accomplish to be compliant. I do believe I have, I think Ryan Tinsley from Strand is supposed to be on. I can't see him here, but he was going to be here in case council had any questions regarding this variance.
He's on, Cliff.
Okay. So council, if you have any questions, fire away.
Hey, Cliff, this is Rory. I just had a question. Do we have any other water plants that have this exception, or do they have fire suppression systems?
Rory, no other water plant that we have has a fire suppression system within the chlorine room.
Okay.
Hey, Cliff,
So
this is Mike.
I have sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Cliff, what does the local fire department say about this?
We have consorted with Chris Motley, the fire marshal. I did not consult with Clint Kassert or Mark Guthrie on this. Because really it'd be nice to have their buy-in agree, but the fire marshal is really the one we need to talk to about this. So I did not get their opinion, Mike, but Chris Motley's opinion is the same as Strand. The fire suppression system is a bit excessive for this type of structure. It's already has the implements to contain and detect any chlorine gas releases.
Did you get it in writing?
I can probably do that. I requested Chris to be at the meeting tonight. He's a little bit hard to get a hold of, but we had a few meetings about it, and I don't think it would be a problem. We don't have it in writing at this time, but pretty sure.
I think it'd be a good idea to have the fire marshal sign off on it. He knows more about it than any member of council, I believe, except maybe Matt.
Yeah, I agree. But for what it's worth, regarding this variance, we have his buy-in. That's the only reason we're here tonight. We met with Chris Motley, and he shares the same opinion that Strand and myself do.
This is Mark. I had a question in regards to insurance, and are we required to insure that building, and would that cause an increase in premiums because we do not have the fire suppression system?
I can't speak to that at this time, Mark. Ryan, is there anything that you can say regarding that?
We lost Ryan, at least ways I don't see him on.
I
Are
still
you
got him.
talking about Ryan Tinsley? He's still on. I just can't hear him.
Can you hear me now?
We
Yes,
got you, Ryan.
sir.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know whether that would affect any insurance rates. You know, one of the things that we were trying to accomplish by pulling the chlorine gas out of the main structure was to not put that main booster station structure under all of the many requirements of the International Fire Code. You know, it's kind of common practice in our industry to put the chlorine gas equipment in a small fiberglass building, or, you know, really it's a hut is what it is. But that, you know, protects it, and it protects and would cause the existing equipment in the booster station building to last much longer, not being exposed to the chlorine gas, the pumps, the electrical panels, all the piping and the sort. So through the design, and Cliff kind of alluded to this earlier, we've gone through and come up with these performance-based metrics based on line by line of Chapter 50 of the International Fire Code, identifying which aspects of that code we have addressed through the design already, and what aspects of it the city or others may be responsible for. At the end of the day, you know, we were thinking that putting in a costly fire suppression system or a sprinkler system for this small of a building was overkill, especially when on that site we have a 350,000 gallon ground storage tank that could flood that building time and time again if there were ever an issue.
Ryan,
Yeah, if we could just follow up on insurance quotes, like I just don't want it to go up 3-4x, right? If that's the case, or would that offset in the longevity, like you had mentioned, of the pump equipment? And so it makes more sense to just eat that premium cost. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Okay.
Ryan, would I'm not mistaken, there's gonna be a fire hydrant somewhere close there, would there not be? And I can't remember the layout. But,
Yeah, there's plenty of items, on the attachment that it talks about, for example, ventilation, there's a ventilation fan, there's gonna be different alarms that would alert someone if they were to come to that building before they opened the door to that building, they would know that there was an issue inside. You know, there's plenty of safeguards. Really, the only variance that we're requesting is just not to have the sprinkler system inside the building itself. And
Great.
in the meetings that we did have with the fire code official, it seemed that, you know, we were all in agreement that this was requiring a sprinkler system in a 6x6 fiberglass hut was likely overkill.
yeah, my suggestion or thought process, if there's a hydrant near, just to scrub anything that may leak out of the building itself, if there is a leak, just take one side of that hydrant off one of the 2.5 inches lines, or get a hydrant that actually has like a 500 GPM or 1500 GPM monitor on it, where if you need to, you can scrub anything that comes out of the building. And that way you're not actually damaging anything inside the building, but you're suppressing any vapors that comes out. And you're gonna need something, if you're gonna put water on it, you better have something that's substantial, because water and chlorine don't like each other, and they definitely form an acid which eats up everything, and it's as far as inside the building and anything that it touches.
And there is a hydrant on site, Steve.
Yeah, you could probably get one that's or mount a monitor on the side of it that's big enough to just put a power cone or a fog pattern on it, anything downwind or on the building itself, to suppress any fumes. And that way you wouldn't have to, you know, you definitely don't want to throw everything on the water, or throw the water on the inside of the building or on the bottle. You want to scrub everything that's going downwind. That's what we did in any type of leaks that we had in our emergency response group out at the plant, is make sure that we scrub the chlorine downwind immediately past the leak point.
Yeah, I had to break out my scale a second there, but there is a hydrant located within 50 feet of the building that is directly tied to our ground storage tank.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Yeah, Cliff, I have a question on, have we ever run into anybody else in the city wanting a similar variance? I know we have a few commercial/industrial businesses in the city. Have they ever had anything similar where they put a small structure on the outside of their main building to avoid the same thing?
Not for housing hazardous material or chemicals, to my knowledge. I know there's been variances requested, but not of this nature. I can't say.
Okay, that's, I mean, my only concern. We start doing variances for our own government and city work. If somebody wants the same variance in the future, it's going to be hard to give them a reason. No, I guess.
Well, yeah, I understand. I can appreciate that. I would hope that anybody else coming forward with the variance would have the same documentation that we're trying to provide, and if so, I hope it'd be a consideration. But I understand where you're coming from.
No, I agree. It's like you said, you've got the standard here and a rebuttal to each point, so it's fair. I just, in case we see that in the future.
I understand, sir.
Hey, Cliff, I just had one last question as well. The other plants, do they have the similar injection chlorine system as well?
Yes, sir, Rory, they do. It's basically going to be a mirror image of what we have, just in a different type structure.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm reading it. It says that the city will develop a written operating procedure for routine operating and maintenance performed on the equipment. I feel like if we already have the same kind of system in place, we should already have that kind of operating procedure and maintenance procedure, as well as the emergency response plan, addressing conditions, during an emergency and then after. So hopefully the other ones have that in place already and we can just mimic that.
Yes, sir. For the most part, it'll be it's a little bit different just because it's a little bit different plant, but it operates exactly the same way. But you're correct. We have standard operating procedures in place. It'll probably just need some context for the North Water plant specifically, if anything, but it is already in place.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? All right, council members, do we have a motion to approve?
I'd make a motion to table it till the next meeting till we get a sign off from the fire marshal.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I mean, I think the city, we've gone round and round before of past, verbal agreements and saying that it's good. And then if anything does come out of it and it's not good, then it turns into this he said, she said handshake type deal. I feel having it in writing from the fire marshal, like Mike said, would protect the city in case there is a bad episode.
Okay, if council, if we vote to table it, I will give me time to check up on the insurance rates and premiums issue that Mark mentioned as well.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilmember Johnson to table until we get the written confirmation or written statement from the fire marshal. And Rory, I'm assuming you are the second?
Yes, sir. I second that.
Okay. And we have a second by Councilmember Escalante. Councilmember Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Strand, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
And Councilmember Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record show that the item will be tabled until we get the documentation from the fire marshal, and that will give Public Works a little more time to look at the insurance aspect of it as well. Okay. So at this point, we are finished with our Board of Adjustment meeting items. So we will adjourn, and let's see what time we have, or we're scheduled here for the regular city council meeting. It shows 6 p.m. So I guess we can move right into the regular council meeting. So let the record show that we are adjourned in the Board of Adjustment meeting, and we are now in open session with the regular council meeting at 6:19 p.m. Okay. And I saw 6:10. Okay. All right. Call to order. We've already got our roll call with council member public comments. Do we have any public comments? Second call for public comments. Third call for public comments. All right, moving on to item 4, consent agenda. Approval of minutes, regular meeting held July 19th, 2021. Special meeting held July 26th, 2021. Special meeting and workshop. Correction on item number 2A or A2. special meeting and workshop held on July 26, 2021. And number 3, special meeting and workshop held August 2, 2021. And then budget report, June 2021. Any discussion or do we have any motions?
I have a quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Are we skipping the invocation and the flag salutes because we're on WebEx?
Yes, sir.
So we're not going to do them.
No, sir. Okay. All right. Do we have a motion or do we have any other questions?
I make a motion to approve a consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Do I have a second? Was that you, Mark?
Yes, Mark Brown, second.
Okay. Let the record show that Councilmember Escalante made the motion, seconded by Councilmember Mark Brown. Councilmember Mike Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melissa Strawn, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Roy Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
And Councilmember Mark Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that the consent agenda has been unanimously approved. Item number 5, discussion and action items. Item A, discuss and consider awarded contract 5-2020 for the construction of the North Water Plant 350,000 gallon ground storage tank. I guess that would be Cliff.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Council, we had hosted the bid opening for the rebid on the for the 350,000 gallon ground storage tank at the North Water Plant on July 29th. We received 3 bids, the lowest of those being a company by the name of Preferred Industries. Their bid has been reviewed by Strand Associates as well as myself, and we believe they're a responsible and responsive bidder. And at this point in time, we'd like to proceed forward with the award of the ground storage tank to Preferred Industries.
Okay, do we have any discussion or questions? All right, how about motion to approve?
I make a motion to award contract 5-2020 for the construction of the North Water Plant 350,000 gallon storage tank to Premier.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilmember Mark Brown. Who do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second made by Councilmember Mike Johnson. Councilmember Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Strawn, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that the motion has been approved unanimously. So we will move on to special meeting and workshop. No, excuse me, wrong one. Discuss and consider approving amendment number 2 to tank order number 19-02 for additional water plant site and facilities design, additional RPR services, North Water Plant integration into Richwood's SCADA system, and Geotechnical Engineering Consulting. Cliff?
So, council, this task order amendment is to accommodate exactly what was just expressed. Additional RPR services which pertain a lot to the ground storage tank. but also the booster station. To my understanding, with the early in the process, we had anticipated a package plant or package booster station, which are not really very popular in this part of the country. So we had to shift and basically design a standalone booster station, its own electrical, and everything was modular. There is that. Also, the SCADA integration of the North Water Plant and other options that will include a force on, force off function here at City Hall of wells and booster pumps, also notification system. And the geotechnical consulting, due to the floodplain, the increased elevations, the new floodplain maps, the geotechnical is to ensure that we're prepping our subgrade properly to handle the load of the water tank and the booster station. I have included the task order amendment, its descriptions, and increase in costs. I want to state to council that as of right now, we still are coming in under the $4 million budget. I think at about 3.6 is where we're currently estimated to be with these with this amendment and everything else. We're still coming in under budget.
Okay, do we have any questions, concerns, or additional information that you think you might need from Cliff, council members? Okay. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment number 2 to task order number 19-02 for additional water plant site and facilities design, additional RPR services, North Water Plant integration into Richwood SCADA system, and geotechnical engineering consulting.
Okay, let the record show that Councilmember Mark Brown has made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, let the record show that Mike Johnson, Councilmember Mike Johnson, made the second. Councilmember Mike Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melissa Strong, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Roy Escalante, how do you vote, sir? Councilmember Mark Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Okay, item number C. Thank you, Cliff. Item number C, discuss and consider approving Strand and Associates task order number 21-03 for engineering and related services for repair and improvement of identified drainage projects within the city of Richwood. Cliff?
So council, this is just the original task order for engineering services for the design of the improvement and repair on projects that have already been discussed in the order that Strand Associates has prioritized them within the stormwater master plan when they cited deficiencies. So this is just simply our engineering to get this designed, and bid will be following. I think the only thing I can say, the total task order amount is inclusive of RPR services. With this type, we will probably need some. I don't know if we'll need all. I think that 193,000 to me is conservative. I don't know if we'll be looking at that full amount with this project.
Okay, do we have any questions from the council members? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion. Go ahead. I'll let you do it, Matt.
Make a motion to approve Strand Associates Task Order number 21-03 for engineering and related services for repair and improvement of identified drainage projects within the city of Richwood.
Okay, let the record show that Councilmember Matt Yarbrough made the motion. Do we have-
Second.
Okay, let the record show that Mark Brown made the second. Councilmember Mike Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melissa Strong, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Yarbrough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Roy Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Mark Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
All right. Let the record show that the motion has carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Cliff. Okay, discuss, consider, adopt a resolution designating an administration project delivery service provider to complete project implementation for the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARP Act, funding administered by the U.S. Department of the Treasury or other federal or state agency. Would
This
that
will
be?
probably be me.
That's Kirsten.
So we are moving forward with the ARP grant. Part of that is procuring grant administration services. So we put bid out for that. We received three bids. Two, I included them in your packet. I don't know if y'all had a chance to look them over. One of them was not responding to the service we needed. I think they were trying to sell us some software. So they scored pretty low. Their average on the score sheet was 27 out of 100. The second, that's the BCS bid. Second bid was DC Planning. They scored an average of 64 out of 100. And the third was GrantWorks. They scored an average of 99 out of 100 on the bid tab score sheet. So we're requesting the resolution be approved, designating GrantWorks as our grant administrator on this. I could say from experience as staff, we have worked with them pretty close here in the last couple of years, and they've been great. They're on top of everything. They help us tremendously when it comes to all of the outstanding projects we have going on. Sylvia with GrantWorks is on the line now, so if you have any questions of her, now's the time to ask it. Other than that, that's all we're asking.
Okay. Thank you for getting on the line, Sylvia. Do we have any questions for Sylvia or Kirsten or regarding the administration or of this grant?
Yeah, this is Rory. What is the total cost going to be to have GrantWorks administer the funding that we receive from the American Rescue Plan? Is it percentage based, or is it, a flat fee?
It's generally a percentage of what we receive. Let me open their bid up and see what they put in there. I don't have them memorized off the top of my head. Sylvia, I don't know if you have those specifics.
Yes, yes. Your total allocation amount is $869,539.20. And it looks like our proposal was at $56,500, which is about 6.5%.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
Mark, did you have a question? Okay, did I speak over someone? Was
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask, what was the criteria that you were measuring each of these bids against?
We actually, it was supplied by Arcit, which is an organization we're part of. They supplied the bid packet with the scoring sheet, and there's experience of the proposing firm, which is 30 out of 100, prior work performance references, 20 out of 100, capacity to perform, 30, proposed cost, 20, and then the total score equaling a total of 100.
I just want to know how GrantWorks lost 1 point on the score sheet.
It was just an average of the committee that scored them.
I'm completely joking. Sorry.
Oh, I was about to say.
I mean,
We have
99 out
lots
of
of
100, that's
references of
pretty
them.
good. I'd say that's where we're going to go, right? Or at least that's how I feel about it.
I felt like out of the top two, the third was really, I would call them non-responsive because they did not, we could really only score them based on experience they provided, but it wasn't really experience we needed for this job. The second company was much smaller, and I felt like they may not be able to stay on top of what we need here as much as GrantWorks can. They dedicate individual representatives to our area, to our city, and they basically handle everything for us. So it's a lot of time off of our hands for these grants.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, just for my understanding, Kirsten, and maybe for the other council members. So I know last time we spoke about how this $869,000 is the proposed allocation of it. A lot of it was for our public infrastructure, like generator maintenance, replacing some pumps. So in essence, we're going to pay 6.25% of this, $56,000, to have a project manager essentially manage the replacement of some pumps and the maintenance allocation. I mean, that's what I'm gathering
With
that
this
this
type of
bid is
grant,
for.
with this type of grant and with the CDBG grant and the other grants we have, there's a whole lot of reporting requirements that have to be met. Very strict deadlines and timelines on checks being cashed and mailed, and invoices being received, and they stay on top of that and keep us. It's a lot for just Cliff or I to be able to stay on top of it and handle between the firms. They're currently working with us for our CDBG grant, and they're managing that at the moment.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments, or do we have a motion?
Do you know the industry average for payout for grant work, for this type of grant work? Is it 6.5 on average, or is that on the high end or the low end, or?
Mark, it doesn't really matter at this point. We have to have respondents.
Fair enough. I just didn't know if y'all knew the answer to the question.
I haven't bid enough grant projects to know any difference. What we had the last grant I did bid out administration for, GrantWorks was the only person that responded still. This is the first time I've ever gotten more than one response on my grant administration request for bids.
Kirsten, you remember offhand what the second packet was?
Oh, I was just pulling that up. Give me just a second.
Mark, I also believe there's limits in these grants for administrative services. They're capped. Only so much can go to administrative services, so it's pretty limited.
The second one, their total project cost, they quoted at $113,200 for this bid.
Wow.
They wanted 90K annually, 7,000 one-time non-refundable retainer, and then various different fees with it. And they totaled that to 113,200. So they were,
It's the one that scored 27, right? Or
no, that was our second place one that actually bid out for grant management. The last place one, I think they were trying to sell us some management software.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution designating GrantWorks as our administration project delivery service provider to complete project implementation for the American Rescue Plan Act funding administered by the U.S. Department of Treasury, other federal or state agency.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilmember Mark Brown. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second is made by Councilmember Mike Johnson. Councilmember Mike Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melissa Strawn, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Roy Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
And Councilmember Mark Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that the motion carries. And the bid is awarded to GrantWorks. Okay, moving right along. Public hearing and action on FY 2021-2022 proposed budget of the Crime Control and Prevention District.
Tricia, you gonna take this one?
I guess you can probably hear me better if I'm not muted. Yes, I can take this one. So I'm trying to work on two devices and my other one just froze. So hold on, this one's smaller. So CCPD met, had a emergency meeting on August 5th. And I attended the meeting and we went over their budget because of the unexpected rise in dispatch costs and the $50,000 server that's required for dispatch. We didn't feel like at this time that we could really strap that on to the police budget in the general fund. So we asked CCPD, the original proposal I gave to them, I removed one of their vehicles so that left that line item with $60,000. I had, since they'd done their original budget, I had reevaluated sales tax and I had increased that. So it still left them with a small net at the bottom. It was the consensus and it was approved by vote by CCPD board that they did not want to lose the vehicle, that they were willing to dip into their fund balance, which as you can see at the bottom, their fund balance at the beginning of the year was $186,491. And so they agreed to that transfer of $67,500, which pays the majority of the cost of the increase in the server. They wanted it to go on record that this is not something that they want to feel they have to do every year. And I said that would be discussed in future years. So this is the budget. Then I went back into my office, redid the budget, showing both vehicles, and they approved this budget as you see here tonight.
Okay, thank you, Tricia. Is there any questions from council members? Okay, hearing none at this time. Do we have a motion for approval? Or do we have excuse me? Yes. Do we have a motion on the proposed budget?
I'll make a motion to approve the Crime Control and Prevention District proposed budget fiscal year 2021, 2022.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilmember Mike Johnson. Do we have a second?
I'll
I'll
second it. Sorry.
That's okay. Melissa, you came in early, so I'll go ahead and put you down as, or have the record show that you made the second, Councilmember Melissa Strand. Mike Johnson, Councilmember Mike Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melissa Strand, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Roy Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Mark Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that all council members voted in the affirmative and motion carries. Thank you, council members, and thank you, Tricia.
You're welcome.
Moving right along. Discussion and consider approving a resolution setting the date and time for the public hearing for FY 2021-2022 annual budget for September 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. So who would that, I guess that's Tricia? Or is that Eric?
I'll take it, Mayor. We just need to go ahead and set the time for approval. And this is the nearest available time that we can get to get the information back to the county. I don't see any sticking points between now and then. What are your thoughts?
Sounds good to me. Council members, we got any questions or thoughts?
Make a motion to set the public hearing for fiscal year 2021, 2022 annual budget for September 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Okay, let the record show that Councilmember Mark Brown has made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let the record show that Mike Johnson, Councilmember Mike Johnson made the second, I believe. And so Councilmember Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melissa Strong, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Roy Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
And Councilmember Mark Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that the motion did carry unanimously. And the public hearing date will be set for September 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Okay, item G. Consider and record vote for proposed tax rate for the 2021-2022 fiscal year of 0.652278, which is a tax increase of up to 6.63% above the no new revenue tax rate for the City of Richwood to be adopted at a future meeting. This is basically just setting the max. We can always take it down from the max before we make the final vote on it. But this just caps it at 6.63%. So do we have any discussion, or Eric, you want to go?
Mayor, that's correct. Again, Mayor and Council, we go through this every year and danders go up and we get upset. We're not setting the tax rate. This is a mere formality that we have to fill out some paperwork, send it back to the tax office that this is our maximum allowable rate. And then we'll discuss that further, but we have to set the maximum, send it to the county so they're aware.
Okay, any questions?
If
or
I can
discussion?
just jump in real quick, there's specific language that has to be in this motion. So I'm gonna put it on a Word document. I hope, can y'all all see my screen, what I'm sharing?
I can.
Okay. I'm gonna put in the motion that what's in this agenda item. Again, whatever motion you decide can be the percent and the amount that you want. But I'm gonna put it up here because this is the language that must be in our motion to approve for the minutes. So this is just what's on the agenda. So if that's what you choose to, that's what you would say.
Okay, council members, go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry, that says which will result in a tax increase.
I know it's not setting the tax rate. This is just the language that must be there. Matt, I don't know if you could help us out and get on this. It's just what's required. We're not adopting a tax rate. This is just proposing it. This is proposing the tax rate, not adopting. You got to look at the word propose and adopt.
Right. This comes up every year with the new legislation that was passed. Oh, gosh, the year before last. But the same issue came up with the wording. It is not an increase, so to speak. It is just so we can potentially use that rate when it comes time to actually vote in whatever the new rate's going to be. It is not, we are not voting in an increase tonight. That is not what this is.
Do we have an ordinance that says that we are required to say that? And if we do, can we list that ordinance like in accordance?
It's actually codified. Yeah, it's codified with the state. I don't have it in front of me. I'd have to go back and look and find it. But specifically, it's just what, oh gosh, maybe
Because,
I want to say it's year
we could
before
say,
last.
If we're quoting laws, then I'd like to know what the ordinance is. Like if I'm a quote a labor law, it would be like,
I understand that too, but this is the language that the tax assessor sends us that we have to use. We
do you have
can't.
a copy of the letter that the tax assessor sent you that states that they require this language? And can you attach
Trisha
that?
probably has it, but
Yeah, we do. So we have somewhere that comes from the county, specifically. I don't know if it was. I don't know who it came from last time.
I hate to be a stickler on this, but we're being told that we have to say it exactly like this. And I'd like to see the reference material where it says that we are being told that we have to say exactly like this.
okay. Just know that we're proposing the tax rate. We're not adopting the tax rate. Let me find.
I understand, but it's still a little bit of an emotional event here. And everybody knows it's going to be an emotional event. And I think it'd be better if we saw the language that says that we are required to say this.
Trisha, do you have it? Because
I am
I only have past
looking.
years.
Yeah, I'm looking for what they've sent me this year.
We have a new tax assessor this year.
And I'm at home, don't have my budget folder, so I'm looking through what I have saved. What is this? No, that's not it.
I mean, does that make sense, or am I totally out of line?
I get it. We're not lying about it. It's just the language. I just don't want us to adopt the wrong motion and then have to come back and redo this and then run out of time before our budget hearing.
So
if it helps, we had the same exact argument last year.
We did. I think we've done this every year.
Yeah. So
we look in the past year.
What I don't seem to have it here with me. I am not even sure they sent me a copy of it this year because I've saved everything the county has saved. I know
last year we got an email from Robin and she was very adamant.
Yeah, let me look at my emails real quick here.
I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna do the same thing. See if I can't find Robin's email.
So she was. Because she was very specific.
That might be something to think about, Kirsten, in the future next year, or even on this one, if we, at the end of it, where it says no new revenue tax rate pursuant to state code, ... And
I understand that too. If we're told that it has to match this language, I don't know that we can add or embellish it to fit what we want it to say.
Well, I get that, but at least we could attach it to the minutes as a document, supporting document.
We could
pass. Yeah, it looks like it's Texas Tax Code 26.04 is what it's associated with. Just trying to Google while I was sitting here.
And I'm looking at the letters that she has sent me, and it's not in those. Let me look at this one more. And every city, yeah, it's not in here either. I don't have it. I don't think it was sent this year. Let me look back last year for Robin.
Yeah, all I have is from her, is last year's stuff. That's where I'm getting this language from. I just remember it was specific.
Yes. I think we're going through some growing pains with the new assessor. Let's see. City of Richwood notice of public hearing. Let me see if this. This is it. Oh, that's a copy of what we did last year. But anyway, every city is doing this. If you notice, every city, there's something in there that says they're raising taxes and then they don't end up with that rate. To me, it is crazy. It's a crazy rule because it's very misleading. But it's just.
That's my problem. I hear this. It's a crazy rule. Okay, what's the rule? Quote the rule for me.
We're proposing a tax rate, not adopting. So we have to formally state what we're proposing a tax rate to be adopted later. That's what the resolution will say.
So
what we can adopt lower.
What this tax rate is that's in this motion is the highest of the three that I put in your presentations.
I understand all that. I understand what we're doing. I just want to know what the rule is.
It
I want
says
the rule to be attached to minutes.
it's specified in section 102.005B of the local government code. Oh, that's requiring that's not it. Sorry. Looking through year-old emails.
Mark, what was that? What was the quote or the citation that you had?
It's going to be Texas Tax Code 2604, somewhere in 2604, 4042, 442, 443. It's going to be in one of those in 26. Texas Tax Code section 26 is all about tax rate, tax code.
Might I, or would it be okay with the council? We have if the motion, part of the motion stipulates that upon approval that this will be attached to this as soon as practical. So we have it attached when we put it out on our website or the or on Facebook page or whatever. Mike.
Yeah, I'd accept that, but we knew that we were coming up to this, and I think I tried to ask this question last year. You know, somebody's forcing us to say something exactly like this, so we should be able to quote the law that requires us to say it exactly like this. That's all I'm saying.
I agree, and I guarantee you we will next year. But if it's acceptable to y'all, if on the motion, just add, just make sure that in the motion that it's stipulated that we ensure.
We don't have to make the motion any different because I'm like Kirsten. I don't want to get caught up in anything. Just as long as we attach it to the minutes. Or
yeah.
So this is what I have for TML. The city council should hold a record vote approving a proposed tax rate. And then it's saying that there's no statutorily defined procedure for us to get to that tax rate. It serves as a deadline to require notices for our hearings. And then it's Texas Tax Code 26.06 and 26.061.
Okay, so can we attach that right there to the minutes, please?
I sure can.
Thank you.
I can save this and send it out to everybody too if you'd like.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Oh, it's no problem.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Okay, any other questions or do we have a motion?
I move to propose a tax rate of 0.652278, which will result in a tax rate increase of 6.63% above the no new revenue tax rate.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilmember Matt Yarborough. Do we have a second? Okay. Rory, one more time so we could adhere to, you kind of broke up on
Aye.
that. Okay. We have a motion made by Councilmember Matt Yarborough. We have a second by Councilmember Roy Escalante. Councilmember Mike Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Melissa Strawn, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Roy Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Mark Brown, how do you vote, sir?
No. On principle.
Okay. So you are voting no, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So let the record show that all council members, with the exception of Councilmember Brown, voted in the affirmative. Councilmember Brown voting no on the proposed maximum tax cap. Let the record show that it does carry. Okay. Thank you, council member. Thank you, staff members. And Matt. Discuss and consider approving resolution setting the date and time for public hearing for proposed tax rate for September 13 at 6 p.m. to be held at City of Richwood, 1800 Brazosport Boulevard, Richwood, Texas, 77531.
Mayor and council, this is when we'll actually set the tax rate and have the public hearing on this date, if that's all good with y'all. If that's good with everybody.
Okay, we've
Didn't we already cover this earlier?
That was for budget. This is tax.
budget. Okay.
Gotcha.
We gotta have two.
Okay, so do we have any questions or do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve a resolution setting September 13, 2021 at 6 p.m. to be held at City of Richwood, 1800 Brazosport Boulevard, Richwood, Texas, 77531 for the hearing for proposed tax rate.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilmember Mark Brown. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Mike Johnson. Councilmember Johnson, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Strawn, how do you vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarborough, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Councilmember Escalante, how do you vote, sir?
Aye.
And Councilmember Brown, how do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to discussion, or item I, discussion and possible action regarding rental of city property for events and a possible moratorium on city-sponsored events in light of the recent COVID-19 spike. Eric?
Mayor, council, we achieved probably our second highest level in COVID today, which was 40. And it's going up. I think it went up by 5. And I would just, like to discuss with y'all some due diligence and some public safety forward thinking. We've got a couple of events, in-person events scheduled coming up. We've got KRB has a couple series in the park and some other things that are going on. And I just think it's probably prime that we have this discussion to, we can't limit things that the governor controls outside of what he's controlling now, but we can control what the city does, and hosting events, rental of our buildings and things like that. I just kind of want to know council's thoughts on these moving forward, whether now might be a good time to step back for a little bit, let the numbers come back down and then continue on as forward, or, I don't want to make a unilateral decision. I like council's input on this, but my thought personally about this is I think if our citizens are looking at us to help protect them, but we keep holding events that are inviting them in person, I'm not sure we're doing them a great service or public health benefit. So, but again, I don't want to make this decision unilaterally, and I'd like some council input on this.
Do you have any suggested targets of, when we would go back down, what percentage or what number of cases per day? Or is it just going to be a feel thing when we feel comfortable opening it back up?
Matt, that's a great question. I think the universal that's been used is the hospital percentages when they're down below 15%. Of course, we skyrocketed past those. So I think that might be a good target number to look at. I just, like I said, I feel uncomfortable continuing down this path of rentals and public events when it's all around us right now. And I think the drive-through events, I think we did those with great care and caution. I think we had plenty of distance between us and other people, and I'm not necessarily against drive-through events, but these in-person events, I'm not sure that as a city we should be doing that right now.
Hey, Eric, I would think if they're city sponsored events, such as like KRB's event that they're going to hold, or if we're doing a national night out that's sponsored by the city, I think that's our due diligence to kind of protect the citizens in our community. But I feel like if we're going to suppress the citizens in the community to use city resources like the pavilion that they're paying rent on, that they pay taxes on, if we're telling them that we can't use it, then I feel that's their right to be able to use it, and that's their risk to use it. If citizens don't have to come out to an event, that they make their own conscious decision to come out, whether they wear 1 mask, 10 masks, or no mask, that's up to them. But I feel taking away that ability and that right to be able to use something that your taxes pay for would cause a lot more heartache for our citizens. But as a city, I feel we should do our due diligence and not sponsor the events. But if they wanted to rent something, I feel that's their right to, and they assume that liability. Perhaps, we should put something in our rental agreement that says about like, hey, by holding this event during this pandemic, the city is not liable for any outbreak or any infection. That's your risk. That's just my take on it.
Sure. That's a good thought.
I would be more in agreement with something like Rory said with, these city sponsored ones, putting a hold on those, but keeping the rentals open.
Okay.
I also have a question on the rental, and I agree also, but after an event takes place, are we doing any extra cleaning, alcohol wipe downs of all equipment, things like that, to assure that the next group renting, that they're getting it's not 100% guarantee, but a clean effort above and beyond what we did 2 years ago?
Well, we haven't been, Mike, but based on what Eric's talking about, I think it's we did it one time. I think it's probably time that we pick it back up again, and we'll be more than willing to do so.
And I think there should be at cost, associated cost as part of the agreement. Hey, we're going to clean this after you're done, and it's going to cost $50 or $25 or whatever you think it's going to cost. I don't know what it's going to take for the little building, things like that. But if I go rent a place, I'm going to assume that it's clean. Well, I'm not really. I'm not gonna assume it's clean. I'm gonna hope that it's clean. I'd probably wipe it down again myself, but it is a weird time, and we've had too many friends and neighbors hospitalized by this stuff. Just late last week, neighbor 3 houses down got transported to the hospital, and y'all saw the thing that Eric posted about the city council member over in on the Seabrook or wherever it was. It's scary times, but we all gotta make our decisions and live with them too.
How about this, Michael? I think it's nominal enough that right now we can absorb the cost, and if it poses complications in the future, we'll bring it back to council. But I think we can handle additional cleaning and disinfecting right now.
Yeah, and then if the governor comes and shuts down everything, then we just follow suit with the governor.
Mark?
So I had a question. Was there any reason in particular that we were wanting to make it a council decision? Was it just to shut down completely, or was there some question or concern, or were you just wanting our feedback on whether we felt like it was a good idea to go virtual with these? I just wasn't sure what the intention behind it was.
Yeah, Melissa, I don't think I would not personally feel comfortable making that decision. I'll do, whatever you wish. But yes, I definitely wanted council input on this for several reasons. One, you are the voice of the city. You're the elected representative. So in turn, you're speaking for the people. I'm an employee, and my focal point may be a little bit different and probably a little more cautious in my approach. So yeah, I definitely wanted council input on this. And Rory brought up a very good point that I didn't think of that. So I think by having a discussion about this, is part and parcel to good management, if you ask me.
We just also have departments currently planning city events, and I didn't feel comfortable telling KRB they couldn't do trunk or treat in person or a gardening event they have planned. So we definitely just wanted council to be the decision makers in this, because it affects more than just residents. It affects the city departments and national night outs coming up. We just wanted y'all to be on how we handle that going forward.
Oh no, I completely
think,
understand that. I agree. I mean, things are getting bad again. It probably all needs to go virtual. I mean, if we're going virtual.
Yeah, our last event was great,
but
we had some illnesses come out of it, and it's really put stress on staff. And I'd hate to think if anybody from that event got sick also. We don't have any way to know, but
I agree. No, I agree completely with that. I just didn't know if there was,
a lot of kids that can't get vaccinated.
Right. I didn't know if there was any conflict or if there was something going on that we needed to make a decision for, or if it was just to get input.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we did have great success with the drive-through stuff last year. If we had to do another drive-through trunk or treat or whatever, I mean, we had good turnout, we had good success with it, and I think we had good community support with it. Everybody understands, I think.
I agree.
I would push for more stuff like that than unfortunately, I think that some cases were contracted, when we had the barbecue. I mean, you have so many people get sick right after. I mean, it's just, it's kind of shows. I mean, and I'd hate to see that again.
Sure. And we don't need to do a resolution or a vote. I just wanted kind of a general path forward. And I think we can meet that, kind of in summary. We'll continue with the rentals, good cleaning afterwards. We'll get with Matt, see if we can post some type of disclaimer notice in there, use at your own risk type situation. And maybe move forward, with some drive-through events going forward from here, but kind of put a moratorium on the city-sponsored events in person for now.
If I could have just couple of seconds here. All right. Number one, they are all saying that this is from aspiration, right? So that means that it would have to be in the air and you'd have to breathe it in. If somebody came in and they cleaned and somebody comes in an hour later, it's not going to be in the air. So while I can appreciate that y'all are like, oh yeah, let's make sure it's really clean. Like, yeah, let's do our typical normal clean because the flu and everything else is the same, right? So it's not just COVID extra clean, right? Because you have to breathe in the droplets in order to get this. And as far as restricting people in their in-person events, is everyone has a personal choice and they can make that choice. And I think that it is beyond me to sit there and say, hey, let's, put a hiatus on all these in-person events and make that decision for them. I just struggle with that because, yeah, if I wanted to, go to an in-person event, I should be able to choose to do that. And if I'm worried about getting infected with COVID, then I'll stay home or have a different alternative. I think the drive-throughs were successful and they're great, but why are we making a choice for all of the people of Richwood?
Mark, and again, I see your point on that. My myopic view is by hosting the in-person events, we're now suggesting not only the people that want to come there, they have a choice, our employees don't have a choice. And now we're forcing the employees, vaccinated or not, doesn't matter. We're now forcing our employees to go work these events. And I'm not sure we're going to have enough police officers for National Night Out to even host National Night Out. So again, we're not talking about all events. We're just talking about the city sponsored events. And that is my main concern is, I've lost a third of a police department. We don't know where they got it. We don't know how they got it, but they got it and they're out for a long, long time. And, risk mitigation is, yeah, I agree.
Let's say it. I mean, they got it the week right after the last event. They all got it at the same time.
Correlation does not equal causation. So you can't take that position. It's just that.
Well, I can take that position because it's an opinion, just like you have an opinion and I had to listen to it. You can listen to mine.
Correlation does not equal causation. Just because it's correlated doesn't mean it's the cause.
Thank you for your opinion.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I agree with both sides on this. And again, by us removing that risk for our few events, we're kind of mitigating both sides of that. We're not providing it to the host event. But as Rory said, we're not precluding anybody else from having an event or renting a space if they so choose. So I see that as well. Again, that's why I wanted to have this discussion. I don't see a good answer to this, but I do believe as a city, and again, my view is myopic here, it is to protect the public. And by hosting an event, there are a lot of people that are, hey man, the city's hosting, it's going to be great. It's good fun. We've been all cabbaged up for a year. We're ready to get out and have a good time. And here we are inviting them, to a super spreading event. It's possible. So
folks, if I might too throw something in there. Number one, the point Eric's bringing up about the employees. My biggest concern is the health of the employees and the health of the citizens. But the other concerns is we're having to spend a lot of overtime. We're dealing with workman's comp. We've got folks that are not doing, that are not there to be able to do the job. We, all this stuff we'll probably see in the next year when insurance rates go up or things of that such. It's not only, it's also looking at deeper than just the the emotional or the political part of it. And to me, it's the people part of it. I'm not a politician, but the bottom line here is we've got to take care of our people. We're on a tight budget anyway, and it's going to be hard. It's hard to cover all these overtime. It's straining the personnel. They're getting wore out, and it's something that we need to prevent as the city leaders. Now, in regards to people making choices, let's put it this way. I guess if we were to use the deal, if you don't want COVID, just don't come out. Well, I guess you could say too, well, if you can't park in a regular parking spot, then don't come to this activity because we don't need those handicap parking spots. That's exactly what's being said. People should be able to go do something. It should be safe for them to do. It's not always the decisions. It's not always the people that are making the decisions as far as for themselves. The decisions you make for yourself, you are also making for others when you walk out there. And it use a little common sense. And number one, it's a respiratory spread virus, and it's ramping up. We've got another one coming up. Another variant is that they're talking about is the Lambda variant, and I'm looking at all of the different groups that are complaining about it or talking about the shutdowns and everything. We're not trying to keep people from doing what they need to do. What we're trying to do is just use a little common sense, be a little proactive, regulate what we can regulate as far as protecting our workers, making sure that we have, we're not spending umpteen dozen $1,000 of money trying to keep everybody well. And we're just trying to do the responsible thing for a city, because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be someone with a different idea than me or Mark or Mike or Melissa or any of us that's going to come in and say, well, we want to sue the city now. And the city is going to have to do its due diligence. And I think Matt will agree on that. So there's going to be some things that we do need to do to protect ourselves, our citizens, and on both sides of the issue.
Mayor, can I add something? You brought up a really good point. Are we still requiring any event over 50 people to have a police officer on site? Because I know we just talked about that at a couple meetings ago, and I forget, is that still in there, Kirsten or Eric?
Yeah, I believe
Because
so.
the only reason I say that is
I know for sure for alcohol.
If any of the events are, over 50 people is how the old contract used to read, that we would require a police officer to be there. So that's something that, we're putting them at risk also. We're putting our city employees at risk also if we have events over 50 people, private events even.
Yes, we are requiring
large groups.
And we actually had one this weekend that had to have one.
So that's something we may want to consider, maybe, and I hate to do that, but limiting or something, just bring it up to council, because yes, we would be requiring a city employee to work that entire event if it's over 50 people.
And Lord help us if one of our officers gets out there, or one of our citizens or city workers again gets out there and somebody gets it and dies, then there's a possibility of legal action. Why did you do this? So we're trying to be
right, because that's not a choice at that point. We're requiring someone to work it.
I will say on the large events with the police officer required, the city's required to get the first right of refusal. So if our officers don't want to do it, those events, the renter then has to find another licensed peace officer. It doesn't have to be Richwood. We just get to be the first ones to say they don't want the overtime or the extra pay.
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay,
gonna
that's
ask.
good to
We
know.
get
I
the
didn't know that.
contract-
Yeah, I just went and read it just real quick because I remember reading something about that, but it just says that our officers get the first chance at the overtime or at the job. And then if they don't have anybody, then they just are required to find a Texas licensed peace officer.
Okay, so they can choose to find someone
They
else.
can.
I just wanted
Officers-
to make sure because I hated for it to be something that we required.
Yeah, we required somebody, but they just have to ask us first if we want it.
And right now, I doubt we have any that would want it.
Or that are available. We're already pretty short
That's
staffed.
what
Yeah,
what I
they're
mean.
working every day at this point.
Okay, any other discussion? I think everything's been pretty much laid out. Eric?
Yes, sir.
You've got the guidance, so let's do what we can.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Council. Mayor.
Okay, moving on. Capital improvement projects update, item 6.
Council, this week, mostly it's about streets. Tried to include some in the weekly reports, but I think one of the biggest things y'all should know that upon doing the excavation, storm sewer work and preparation for sidewalks on the section of Moore between Oyster Creek Drive and West Mahan, we ran into some things over there. Some was storm sewer piping that we were not aware was there. Storm sewer piping in worse condition than what we knew it was, or what we thought it was. I'm sorry. And some other issues, some junction boxes, T's. It was really kind of a cluster underground. So I had to make some decisions. We had to move forward with some demo of existing pipe we didn't know was there for a couple of what I felt to be good reasons. One, the existing piping I did not believe had enough integrity to be reused. And also it was impeding the path of the new piping. So we pulled it out. I'm trying to explain this as good as I can without illustrations. The section of Jasmine drainage that goes under Moore, the grade was found to be in very, very poor shape. The only way to really correct that is to redo it. It was unanticipated. So it's about a total of about 75-foot section under Moore that'll need to be redone. That was not anticipated. And just some overall downtime too, which was not good. But once we found out these things, everything had to kind of stop. We had to regroup and figure out how to move forward. There'll be a change order coming to council at the next council meeting. I also have a proposed way to pay for that, trying to preserve as much bond funds as we can to get as much done as we can. Other than that, the DR project, which was recently awarded, we're just waiting on construction contracts, and we'll get everything submitted to GLO, and we should be able to push forward. And the CDBG project, the same. We're moving forward on that. I think there was a little bit of confusion of how we could move forward. It's a little bit different than disaster recovery, but this is administered. The funds are administered by Brazoria County, so we just answered to them. I told Strand Associates last week that we can move forward, and should be fairly quick. That will be coming to council and moving forward. Other than that, I don't have a lot. The sidewalks, I don't think we're going to finish the pedestrian bridge before the start of school. I've notified everybody that I can, including Polk Elementary, And we'll put out public notice if need be. We were anticipating everything coming on site as far as the pedestrian bridge goes and the rebar cages and everything like that. The beginning of last week, they're supposed to be moving it in, it's supposed to be end of last week, beginning of this week. We'll see how that goes. And from what I understand, all the rebar cages are constructed. It'll just be a matter of excavating, putting the cages in and forms and pouring concrete. Hopefully, once they get started, it won't take too long. Within a couple of weeks, hopefully we'll be done. Other than that, the water plant's progressing fine. We had some holdups. Hopefully, everybody understands why due to the weekly reports. But everything's going good. We anticipate the finishing of the well within about 4 to 5 weeks. Survey will start. We plan to start survey tomorrow, contingent on your guys' decision to approve the task order. We're going to move forward with the surveying for the Richwood drainage projects. During that, I think it's important to mention to council, we've received a lot of feedback based on Quail Run's flooding situation during heavy rains, and one citizen, specifically Mr. Tom Koziel, has gotten into several conversations with me. It's been nice talking to him. It's been very in-depth. Strand is going to shoot some centerline elevations of that street to tell us what's going on with the street. They believe that the flooding issue on Quail Run, the inconvenience flooding, the high water during rain events, will be solved with the drainage project, the rehabilitation of the east and west ditches. But we do also believe that there's an elevation issue there too, where the street has sunk or lost elevation in the center section of the street, which could be a potential future capital project option coming to you guys. But we are doing our best to look into that at minimal costs to ensure the citizens that we are, it hasn't left our attention. We understand it's a problem, and we're doing everything we can to try to remedy that issue. I did talk to Ryan Tinsley in the after we finished the discussion about the variance. I just want to put it into council's head that it possibly will need a special meeting if I can get the material sufficient for council to make the decision one way or another. But he's going to deliver me some language via email, why it's important. A lot of this I know is contingent on the booster station, and we're getting to a point to where if we hold it up any longer, we could start bumping back finish dates and holding people off, and it could incur further costs to the city. I'm going to get some specific details for you guys. I don't want to go in too in depth, and I'll present that to Eric, and we'll get back to you within a week or so regarding that. But other than that, that's all I have at this time, unless council has any questions about a specific project.
No, I don't, Cliff.
Well, thank you. Thank you much.
Thanks, Cliff. Okay, any other discussion on that subject? All right, let's move on to city manager's report. Eric? Might want to unmute your mic.
Muted, Eric.
Probably better that way. Again, Mayor, Council, thanks for the great budget workshop last Monday night. lot of good input, gave us good direction to move forward and start finalizing the budget. Thanks again for the patience. We appreciate it. Makes our job a lot easier. Sometimes just a clear path forward helps us get to where we need to be, and we've got that. Talked about CCPD tonight. We got that finalized. We still have 3 officers out on COVID leave. There is a possibility, albeit remote, but there's a possibility of one possibly returning on Wednesday. We'll let you know when that happens. We look forward to that. And I know that staff has done a phenomenal job. The men and women of the police department are working 6, 7, 8 days straight. They're gassed, you can tell. But we greatly appreciate them. We do have a new reserve officer out on the street, gone through FTO, actually worked a couple of shifts on his own this weekend, and new officer should be starting tomorrow as well. Full-time officer should be starting as well tomorrow. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, thanks. Any questions for Eric? All right. Council member comments and reports or committee reports. We have any?
I had just one little one. I had talked to Eric a little bit earlier this week about adding a code enforcement officer designated. If not to this budget cycle, because it's already pretty much done, but thinking about it for next year, I think it's important for public safety and appearance of our city to have a designated code enforcement officer and not ask all of our city employees to work so much harder to cover that as well.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. Rory, do you have a?
Yeah. Let me pull it up here. I just wanted to bring up one thing. I know the previous, maybe it was a month or two ago, we asked the city attorneys if they could look into this. I know I'm looking here at the memorandums from June 17th. That's when we awarded Phoenix Fabricators the North Water Plant build for $656,700. And due to that alleged discrepancy with the facts not publishing our public notice, we had to rescind that bid and put it out for bid. We brought up the price of commodities and metals has gone up considerably. And now this new bid that we're kind of stuck a rock in a hard place. We have to vote on it. We have to get this thing up and built. We awarded it tonight to a new contractor, Preferred Industries, for $694,800. That's a difference of $38,100 that, we as a city and we as taxpayers are now having to fund for the construction of this North Water Plant because of the ball was dropped from the facts. I know we asked our attorneys if we can look into it. Is there any legal recourse? I mean, what can we do as a city? We just lost out $38,000 of our taxpayers' money because our local newspaper failed to meet their end of the bargain in publishing this so we can be in compliance with state law.
Rory and Matt, sorry to interrupt. If we could we add this to executive session next meeting? There's some new information. I think needs to be shared with council in reference to this. I think it'd be best discussed in executive session.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine if you can put it on the agenda for next, but I just wanted to say that was my comment was, we voted on it tonight. We all agreed on it, but it was $38,100 more dollars that the city's spending on something that we have to get done.
Sure.
That's all my comments for tonight.
Okay, any other reports or?
Yeah,
I just wanted to comment and say, appreciate all of the project work that's going on. I know it's a big strain on everybody and with everything else that's going on, but it just looks like we're knocking projects out of the park and the city's looking better. I mean, right now we're kind of in a tore up state, a couple streets, but it's looking good, seeing things get done. You know, we've talked about it for the last 2 years, and this summer seems to be the summer of execution. So thank you very much. Also, I'd like to make a request. The meeting that we have coming up on the 13th, we have stacked a lot of stuff on it, and now we just threw in an executive session. Keep in mind that everybody here has day jobs too, so maybe we go ahead and say, hey, if we haven't met the end of the meeting next week by 10 o'clock, we put a cap to it, or not next month, next week, but next month, and say, we're going to have another meeting because, like I said, we've all got day jobs.
That sounds good to me. Either that, or if need be, we could probably have a special meeting for one or the other. Be up to the council members. Matt Yarborough, did you have comments or questions?
Yes, Mayor, I just wanted to make a comment that our 2019 total tax rate was 67 cents. For 2020, the tax rate was 62, almost 63 cents. And we just approved a ceiling of 65 cents. So a worst case this budget year, we still won't be where we were in 2019. We have a lot more infrastructure projects needed. There's a lot more projects and studies that have already been funded that we just don't have the money to do. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of our last couple of years' tax rates. That's all.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mayor, this is Mark. I'd like to recognize our police officers that have been out there working these extra shifts and still keeping us safe. I appreciate their efforts that they've been doing. I know our fire department helped with a couple of calls. Saw some of those going out, so thank you all for that. City staff, I'd like to echo my peers here as well. As you know, y'all are doing a great job executing things and moving things forward. So thank you all for your efforts in doing that. And then also, I'd like to just encourage everybody to just keep on taking care of yourself, making the best choices for yourselves, and we hope for speedy recovery for the people that are impacted. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Melissa, do you have anything else? I think you've already spoke. So
Yes, sir. Thank you, though.
Okay. All right. Well, and I guess that brings it to me. About the only thing that I've got at this point is, well, a couple of things. Watch the tropics. We've got 2 storms heading this way. One of them, number 2, I'm not too sure it's going to get too big. But the number 1 that we're looking at, the one was about 70% chance. There's some issues with dry air out there in the Atlantic, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to pick it up here when it gets over closer to the Cuba and Florida and over there. So everybody kind of be on watch and have your plans ready. Just double, triple check. And again, if we know of anyone that may need some assistance, either leaving or need assistance with electrical power for their machinery, anyone that's infirmed that are for their, oxygen or something like that, please let somebody know, talk to them, see how they're set up, see if they're set up for at least 2 weeks of no electricity or do they need transportation out of the city. There's all kinds of methods and all kinds of opportunities out there for us to be able to send them to. the 211 system and the plus, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, no, I'm not going to say that one because I don't know for sure, but we need to watch our folks that need help. And if the people that, the best people that know about their situations are the people that live close to them and then in their neighborhoods. And if they're too proud to let us know, maybe they'll talk to their neighbors, maybe they'll talk to some of their friends. But let's make sure that we watch out for those that may not have it or may need some of the equipment that we have.
Mayor, I'm the designated steer contact, so just
Yes,
direct anybody to me and I can get them registered.
Right. Lastly, we're kind of at a disadvantage now in the COVID fight because of the information that we're not getting daily like we were. So many people have kind of put it to the back, and I understand there's 2 or 3 different opinions and all kinds of different sides, and I'm not trying to make a point on any. What I'm trying to do is say, check the county website, look at what we've got, what's happening daily. The county's not reporting it to the city like they were. We're getting it out there as it comes up pretty high. I know Eric's been pretty tight on it, but please keep up with what's going on, because I understand that our hospital here is pretty much full. I know that there's one hospital I saw in the news yesterday that's actually putting tents out. And in Houston, I believe is where it was. But as Mark said, we need to make the best decisions for ourselves and for our families, and responsible decisions. I'm not going to say pro con this or that. I'm just going to say be responsible in the decisions that you make. But also take into consideration that just because this citizen or this person has a different opinion does not mean that their actions should be dictated by someone of the opposite opinion. So in other words, I'm going back to the handicap stickers or handicap signs. Just because they're worried about getting COVID doesn't necessarily mean that they should have to stop going out, because they have to go out to do some things. So they need to do it as responsibly as possible. But the other folks, please try to be responsible and mindful of the other people that live around you. That's where we're losing in this battle, is you've got 2 sides and a whole lot of people standing on either side pointing the finger at each other. And we're going to lose that any way you go. And until you've seen somebody that's been in as I've said before, until you've seen somebody that's been in an iron lung, you might not understand some of the stuff, the things that went on back in the 50s and the 60s. But I grew up in the era of polio and smallpox. And I can tell you, polio, I've actually seen somebody in an iron lung, and it's not fun. So that's my report. Any future agenda items? I think we've got the cap on the time frame for the next council meeting. I think we have we've talked about the executive session. If there's anything else, please speak up or forever hold your peace. All right. Looks like we're through and we will be adjourning at 7:50. Y'all
Thank
be
you,
safe.
Mayor. Thank you, council.
Thanks, everybody.